that would be like faculty and staff members, make sure you got a lot of wisdom, and you got experience we don't have, share that with the students. Be there for the students, because we got student leaders here that want to mentor people and that want to make a difference on this campus, but that just feel drained and have no one to go to and be like, what am I going to do with all the problems I'm hearing, and where am I going to go with this, you know? So it's basically just sharing what you have with others. It's like resources, experiences, time, whatever.
And as part of that, right, if we were to think about, okay, now we're going to come up with a system that's going to implement everything she just talked about, that could be fairly daunting, right? But I think maybe the difference between saying, let's create a culture where we embrace this, right? Where I don't have to say, or Cisco doesn't have to say, or somebody else doesn't have to say, hey, you're an upperclassman, maybe you should find a couple people, right, who are maybe sitting by themselves in chapel, or awkwardly introduce yourself. You know, let's make, I mean, the admissions counselors have to talk about Kuyper community or something. Do you guys ever say that? Okay, so let's actually prove them, let's prove them right, to actually say, hey, you know, maybe freshmen come in with this expectation that people will be awkwardly uncomfortable and say, I'm here to help you and be your friend. Can we be friends? Yeah. Right? I mean, takes us back to first day of kindergarten, but you know, maybe there's something to that.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, it's not so much a system as it is a vision.
Yeah.
From like, hey, I'm going to help you. So if everyone here walks out with that vision, and everyone takes a few persons to keep an eye on, and to walk along and just help and be there.
The other thing that we talked about is that can happen in a lot of ways. A lot of our discussion so far has been around the dorms, but it'd be interesting to hear how much our transfer and the students that don't live on campus, our numbers have grown so much in that area for Kuyper. How do we meet that community need? And so these were some of that happened, and not just in chapel, but in a classroom. You go, I mean, it's like you're going to church. You sit in the same place every time by the same people, right? We do that. I do that. But being intentional is, I've never seen that person before, or that's not part of who I usually hang out with, or I recognize that as a non-traditional student that's, you know, got her kids on the bus now she's sitting in class. How can I build community with that person? I think it's big like that. It's in the classroom, it's in the hallway, it's in the lunch, it's in the commuter lounge. It's in a lot of different ways. And I think faculty are responsible for this as well, of how to you know, create and structure our classes sometimes to make intentionally that people have to talk to each other about things, because sometimes that's how you meet a person, and you dare ask those questions about not knowing. And so I think it's big.
Yeah, good. You want to?
Someone over there wants.
Yeah, that's just the cry of my heart lately, is that no more systems. I mean, not no more, but I mean, like, stop developing for a minute. We need to stop adding more. I think that we love having a system because it makes us feel like we're accomplishing something. And the reality of it is, I feel like we've been accomplishing less and less this year. And being so invested in this community, it's really, really heartbreaking when you find out that someone is literally leaving the school because the community is hurting them. That's a reality here, and it came as a complete shock to me. And I feel like maybe I'm just really ignorant for not seeing that, but that's a reality, and I think that needs to be said. But also just that I think it's awesome that we're trying to shy away from planning events and activities to make community happen. But yeah, like Maria said, like, the vision has to be there for each individual, and what we kept coming back to in our group was, yes, this you know, will take form in activities, but it comes down to this personal conviction and this personal call to be a Christian. Like, we are all responsible for being a Christian. We can't make an activity to make that happen, and part of our Christian call is our community.
Yeah, Maddie.
So, like, does it sound too weird to ask us to be more Christ-focused as a community? I mean, like, when's the last time someone stopped you in the hall and asked if there's anything they could, like, pray for you for, or something like that, you know? Like I can't remember the last time anyone just stopped me and said, like, hey, you know, like, how's your spiritual walk doing today, you know? Like, is that is that too much to ask? I mean, it sounds like a stupid question, you know, especially, you know, considering the goals of the institution here. But I just feel like that's severely lacking.
And what I've been thinking, the last several comments keep making me think, I wish more people would join us in the prayer team ministry, because that is a way to, you know what Ethan said about not just establishing community for community's sake, but to pray for each other, with each other. And in those groups, we are able to just be God's children together, support each other, people who are in the dorms, in apartments, whatever. People can come together from different areas, different levels, and really connect just as God's children and support each other. And that has been a huge blessing. And so, you know, I feel sad when I hear people talking about how things have gone downhill. I am so blessed by this community here at Kuyper. I am so blessed. And you know, I know we don't want to have groups for groups' sake and so on, and yet so many of these things, like prayer groups and so on, are, yes, okay, mine is 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon, so that means it's a meeting. But it's not just a meeting. It's a time to revel in being God's children together and just enjoy supporting each other in that. And I think that things like that, I would love to have more people involved in that, but even if it's not that, if it's, you know, some other thing, if it's reading, Rebecca said, reading C.S. Lewis together, or, you know, whatever it is, if we can just think in terms of goals that can bond us together in our walk with Christ and in our goals to serve Him.
Yeah, that's good.
Just real quick, I don't want to sound like a jerk at all, but heck, way to start that. This is recorded, so. But one thing that I think we all also need to focus on, and for me especially, is that a lot of this, you know, I wish that people were to do that, and I really hope that people would come up and ask that in the hallway, or when's the last time that someone did that for you. I think we also need to turn that back on ourselves and ask, when was the last time that we did that? There's a lot of times where I wish that people were to take the time out of their day to ask me how things are going, because things are going pretty crappy at a certain point, and it's just like, I want someone to ask me that. I think that we need to make sure that not only I understand in a setting like this, we want to explain what's going on and what we're feeling about the community. We need to also make sure that we are doing the exact same thing. Especially, like, if you feel convicted that you wish that someone was to do something for you, do that for somebody else. Because, I mean, the only way that actual change is going to happen is if we actually are the ones that step out and do something.
Yeah, I think that's a vital point. This is not about, hopefully, nobody took this as a complaining section about what are they doing wrong, right? And instead, you know, where is this actually coming from for us? Yeah, Maria and then Ethan.
I think Dom covered